Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. Today, I'm going over a special little topic that, surprisingly, I've never done on my entire time on this channel. It's actually really surprising to me. I looked up, have I done this before? And I haven't, which is kind of crazy because you would have expected this to be a video that I've done. And that is every secret trainer in Wizard101. Now, I will say there's a few exceptions that I'm going to put here. Like, I'm technically not going to count like things like Star School and Moon School trainers as in like the actual trainers itself, because realistically those aren't really secret. You can just find them yourselves. If you don't know, astral spells exist, get enchants, all that kind of stuff, right? Like the Azteca ones, those aren't really a secret. Those are part of quests. What I'm talking about specifically is random NPCs scattered throughout this game that are trainers, and a lot of people probably don't know that they're trainers. So while not all of them are useful, hopefully today I can at least, show you some interesting ones and potentially show you something that's pretty interesting in of itself. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So starting off, this one actually is technically, I would say, not really a hidden one, but a lot of people might not know. If you come here to Diego and train from him, you can actually get 4 separate spells. You can see here, you can get Stun Block, Cloak, Conviction, and Solar Surge. I would say, obviously, the main ones that are of interest is Stun Block and Conviction, in PvE anyway. And obviously, you can't get Conviction unless you're Sergeant in PvP, so I'm imagining a lot of people who are watching this for PvE won't get this, but you can still get Stun Block. Stun Block can be pretty useful if you don't have Conviction treasure cards. It's just, a good way to block some stuns, and it's here, and you don't need to do PvP to do it. So if you want to, you can come to Diego. This is something I actually found as a kid with Cloak, because I always thought Cloak was interesting. I don't know what it does. I mean, it just hides your charm from the enemy, which in PvE is completely useless, but I remember using it as a kid and being like, wow, this is cool. So this next one I'll say is also pretty common knowledge. Some of these are more common knowledge, but there are some obscure ones. But the next one is Sabrina Greenstar. And Sabrina Greenstar, you can see here, is just chilling in the fairgrounds. If you didn't know, you can come over here and get your variant of a shield. Realistically, a lot of these aren't very useful. Some of them can be cool, like if you're a fire and you want to use Immolate, Fire Shield actually isn't a bad idea. Death Shield wouldn't be bad for some of the spells in Death where you damage yourself. Obviously not all of them, because some of them are Moon School, but you get the gist. Basically, there are shields here if you want to, very easily accessible, and it doesn't cost a training point if you are the school that you get, so pretty cool. Now this one I'm gonna say is almost entirely useless, to be honest, and that is Mortis here in Nightside. If you didn't know, he actually does have some spells. You can see here he has Infection, which you can get at level 0 for some reason, but he also has Pacify, Distract, Calm, Soothe, Tranquilize, Taunt. He has all of these spells right here that you can train if you want to. As I've discussed in the past, I think a lot of these are not very useful at all. I know that some people are like, no, you're doing it wrong, and when there's multiple enemies, that kind of screws with things, but I don't care. I think these spells suck, to be completely honest. So realistically, this one is if you want maybe Taunt or Infection. Pretty easy to get, and you can get them at a very low level here in Nightside, so pretty darn cool. All right, so this next one is the last one in Wizard City, while also being probably the most useful one in Wizard City and one of the best hidden trainers in this game actually at all, and that is here in Colossus Boulevard. Now if you don't know, you come down here from Mindy Pixie Crown and go into this house. It's kind of hard to find because for some reason, like, there's no lights on or anything, so you don't really know it, but you can come here and you can see Mildred Farseer is here, and she has some of the better spells in this game that you might need. For example, she has all of the dispels, which are actually really good. There's a lot of times when these can come in handy, especially on cheating bosses that do certain things like maybe switch up feints or spam a spell that sucks. Basically, these dispels can be quite amazing. There is Reshuffle, which is obviously pretty good for filling up your hand in case you run out of cards. This is good against any major boss fight, just so you don't run out of spells. And then finally, you have Life Trap here, which obviously as a life, you're going to want to get at some point. So they're all here. I don't know why she teaches Life Trap, but she does. So that's the last trainer in Wizard City, Mildred Farseer here, and probably the most useful one out of this entire list, to be honest, because those dispels really do come in handy. So come here, get those spells. But that's it for Wizard City. Let's move on. All right, so this next one, I'm just going to tell you. I'm not actually going to go to it because I don't want to have to wait like the hour or so that it takes for this teleporter to activate. Basically, the secret shop here, if you don't know, activates like every hour or so when these pillars fill up to max, and it allows you to go to the secret shop. This lets you get the secret shopper badge if you enter and exit 5 times. But on top of the secret shop is actually a trainer trainer that I will fondly refer to as Secret Shop Dude. Secret Shop Dude has not very many spells and not any useful spells. In case you're curious, he has a lot of these spells right here for minions. So Siphon Health, Mend Minion, Sacrifice Minion for 2 pips. I think these actually might be the 3 spells he gives. There might be more, but they're all minion spells. So obviously this isn't useful for most people. They're all myth spells. If you're a myth, you might want these, but I don't think most other people will. Potentially you might. If you're using minions a lot for some reason, you might want buff minion and shield minion maybe. I don't know why per se, but you might want some of these. Just a cool little Secret Shop Dude here who has some trainable spells, you know? It's worth mentioning even if the spells kind of suck. All right, next and finally for Krokotopia is one I doubt most people missed, but there's still a possibility, and that is Niles the Balance Tree here. Now, my train option's actually gone because I've trained every spell from him, but if you didn't know, you can actually train spells from Niles, and he gives you 4 pretty useful spells, and that is Elemental Blade, Elemental Trap, Spirit Blade, and Spirit Trap. Now, these are obviously useful because they give plus 35s of each blade from the school, and same with the traps. These obviously are very useful, and you see people using them all the time. Definitely worth getting. All the spells are level 25. So if you didn't know that, there you go. That's how you get the elemental and spirit blades and traps. So pretty cool. That's it for Krokotopia though. Let's move on to the next one. All right, next up here is actually a really cool little one that I found as a kid and I always felt so cool knowing. There is actually a little secret room right here behind Mayor Pimsbury. If you didn't know, it's just kind of like this little hangout club area. You can see there's root beer here. Pretty cool. But there's also Croaky here. And Croaky has some spells that he can teach you. Now, again, these are minion spells. You know, these are things about sacrificing minions, I believe. In fact, I think all of them are sacrificing a minion for some reason. But in case you wanted them, they're all here. That's where this one comes from, Siphon Health. You can see here he has a lot of spells like that. Pretty cool. I don't think there's any real reason to do them, but either way, I really like this area. It's pretty cool. There's like this whole kind of cool aesthetic of an airplane kind of club thing. So I've always liked it. It's always really cool. Got some root beer and stuff, but you can also get secret spells. So let's move on to the next one. All right, next up is Celestia. And Celestia actually has a few hidden trainers in it, surprisingly more than you'd think. Now, obviously, again, I'm not talking about, say, you know, a moon school trainer as in like the actual physical obelisk kind of thing itself. I'm talking about physical people that train you spells. But one of them is here, Tapatua, in the Floating Land. This one is the Mega Tranquilize and Pacify versions of spells and Taunt. Obviously, this is basically just Mortis, but upgraded. So if you've ever wondered where to get those, that's here, but I really don't think that any of them are particularly useful, I would say, except maybe Mega Taunt. But if you're interested, this is how you get them from Tapatua. I actually didn't even know that he was a trainer until recently, but now I do, and that's pretty cool. Can I just say that this is actually my least favorite part of Celestia is Stormriven. Stormriven sucks. This isn't necessarily part of the video yet, but like this sucks. The fact that I need to walk so far to get to where I want to go just to get like even to Stormriven Hall kind of sucks, not gonna lie. I don't know why they haven't added teleporters to this place, but please, Kingsile, I beseech you, please add teleporters, because this kind of sucks, not gonna lie. All right, here's another one and the next one. This one is here in the ossuary in Stormriven. Again, a very, very long walk, and for not even a good trainer. This guy actually offers to teach you some polymorph spells and some interesting and unique polymorph spells. So if you ever wanted to get the Master of Shapes badge, that's how you get this. But beyond that, he just teaches some pretty useless polymorph spells. Again, polymorphs do suck, in case you didn't know. Basically, he offers to train you some. I don't know why you would want them, but he is a hidden trainer. Again, right here in the ossuary, he's kind of hidden behind like a little thing over here. And here's also the Lounging Lizard, in case you're ever curious where that is. All right, next up, and the last one of Celestia is here in the Stormriven Hall in the back right. This guy is actually one that I didn't even know existed until recently, but is pretty cool, and that is the Mutate guy. Now, this one, I will say, realistically, isn't very useful in most cases, but I do think it's actually quite interesting. Basically, he mutates certain spells into different versions of spells. You can see here you have Mutate Sprite into Midnight Sprite, you have Mutate Kraken into Inferno Kraken, Phoenix into Thunderbird. Just some cool little things that you can do. I don't know why you would use these mutates. They're not really useful in most cases, but I will say they are pretty interesting, and he is a hidden trainer that I didn't know about until recently. Again, he's hidden behind this wall in the back right of Stormriven, the last one in Celestia. All right, these next two are definitely more well known than most of the other ones I've gone over on this list, and that's because they actually offer some decently useful spells, I would say, and are actually pretty easy to find. First off is Cassie the Ponycorn here, who offers Mass Prism. This one is obviously extremely useful and is almost a necessary skill to get. You can see you can find her here in the wild, and the other one, Enya Firemoon here, is also in the wild, as I will slowly walk over towards her. She's the one that gives you the spear spells, which offer some armor piercing. Not bad at all, especially in bosses that have a lot of resist. You may want to use one of these. You can see all pretty useful, unlocked at level 80 right here in the Fire Elf Village. Obviously, these ones are probably more well known than most, but it was worth talking about them anyway. Definitely still considered secret trainers pretty darn cool. Alright, so this next one and the final one of this list that I'm going to mention is Amelia Stardust here in Radiance Reborn. Amelia Stardust is technically a part of the main quest, so you might have noticed this, but she's actually the one that gives you the Pierce and critical bubbles. So in case you're ever wondering how to get those, that's how you get them. So like Saga of Heroes here, I'm going to train that up because why not? You can see it offers 20 armor piercing and 20% more crit. So a pretty decent spell, I will say, offered from Amelia Stardust right here. But that is the last one. So let me talk about real quick, first off, which ones I may have left out, or which secret trainers in general I might have left out, because there are some that I didn't bother mentioning. For example, there is definitely the one that gives shift spells in the Eclipse Tower and Khrysalis that I didn't mention because I didn't think it was worth mentioning, because it is very much not a secret. All the other ones that I mentioned kind of were hidden, or you had to go out of your way to find them. You might not have actually noticed that they are a spell trainer, but the shift spell guy is literally like 2 feet away from another trainer that offers you spells, and I'm pretty sure most people probably pressed X on him to see what spells he offered after learning Shadow Magic. So I'm pretty sure most people know that one, and I'm pretty sure there's a few others I could have mentioned, but I didn't mention those directly. Obviously, I didn't mention Sun, Moon, and Star School trainers. Again, as I said, I'm not going to actually list those because you can find those yourself. That's a different video in of itself. But real quick, why would you want some of these spells, or what does this have to offer? Well, there is 2 things I would say. First off, obviously, there is the fact that some of these spells are actually useful, so you might want to train them up. But the second thing, and this is for kind of like some nerds like me, if you've ever wondered where you get the Master of Blank badge, so Master of Fire, Master of Ice, Master of Death, and for some reason Myth is the Master of Monsters. I don't know why Myth is different, but it is. You actually get that by learning every spell of your school up to level 48, in case you're curious, and that includes those secret trainers. So if you're a Myth and you've ever wondered how to get like Master of Monsters, you need to train every single spell I just showed you, including all of the minion ones, and go out of your way to do so. So in case you're ever wondering, that's how you get that. And there's also the Master of Shapes badge in Miscellaneous, which is learn every single Moon School. I would recommend doing this on free training point buyback. Just learn all the Moon School spells and then buy them back. That's really the main reasons why you'd want to do this, besides just generally learning the spells, but I don't know, that's just a me thing. But otherwise, I think that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Did you find this useful or interesting? And let me know, did I actually miss any? I don't think I did. I literally looked at a list of every single trainer in this game and picked out the ones specifically that I know people might not know about. There are some that I may have missed. There is like 58 trainers. There's a possibility that I somehow missed one in there. But otherwise, that is it. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video. Adios.